Dude, insane. Okay, so I'm so glad I was like mentally, emotionally prepared for this. I'm in line, see a hottie. I'm at Costco trying to return something. And she's one of those like just tall, handsome, like gorgeous Middle Eastern women where I'm just like, it was obvious she was from somewhere else. So I didn't feel like I was microaggressing by being like, hey, so where are you from? I love how that's become so bad now. I can see how it can be sometimes. Jesus Christ, how do I get away from this friggin' noise? All the noise. Okay. Whoa, hi. Oh, okay. Gonna be late for work. Oh God. Okay. This has been a fun break. It probably looks on the video like it's like the gentlest bunny slope, but I swear in real life that was kind of steep. Okay. Oh my God. Okay. So we start talking. It's obvious she doesn't really want to flirt, but it's obvious that she really doesn't mind talking. So I said, God, you know, like I often find, she said, oh, I'm from Lebanon. And I said, oh, that's interesting. You know, I often find that Middle Eastern women are just so, and I paused. I'm like, oh, this is ashy. I don't think, you can tell by her type. She's not, you know, of the more hypersensitive type. It's amazing how much of people's political orientation they try and make known with their dress and demeanor. I don't think it's safe to assume to a point, but it is, you know, you're not going to go up to every single tiger and ask, hey, excuse me, are you one of the dangerous ones? Stereotyping is kind of an evolutionary thing. So I said, how well put together. And I said that carefully, reading for response. Anyway, I keep defending myself. She's like, oh, thank you. Yeah, she's like, thank you. I appreciate that. So, and she definitely didn't have, it was like, if there was any mixed emotions, it was like 80-20, totally cool. Maybe some teeny hints of like, oh, that's interesting. You know, not like, Jesus, not like a lot of Western women where you would have disgust flash over her face before she said, thank you, you know, or something like that. So definitely nothing like that. Just, I don't know, say you know how, it's like, I want you to judge me, but I want you to judge me correctly. So she says that, and then I said, you know, because I waited a second, and then I was just going to let the whole conversation die, but she's still standing there, she's still waiting for her mother, and I thought, can I ask you a question? And she says, yeah, and I can tell that it's okay to ask like a not too crazy question. So I said, would you say that it is true that Middle Eastern women are oppressed? I asked it exactly like that. I feel like I just captured it, like intonation, everything. I can tell when I nailed it, and I just nailed that. I got it exactly like I did it. Very, very, very close. And she said, absolutely not. I mean, she thought it was funny. Now, granted, this is a woman in kind of like almost business casual. You can tell she's very middle class. She's obviously herself very well put together. You know, would lower class Saudi Arabian women like to think of themselves as oppressed? Could I understand if they did? Yes. Do I agree that they are? Yes. Are they any more oppressed than their men? No. That's what's funny. Everyone's trying to find things to blame for their oppression that just aren't the truth. Everyone's trying to blame everything under the sun except for the great big ball of burning gas for the heat that they feel. It's just, Jesus, even Chomsky. Like, outside of Quinn, really, this is the one area where he totally outshines Quinn. He's the premier describer of the dysfunctionality of civilization. No one has chronicled the dysfunction of our hierarchical systems better than Noam Chomsky. And he still thinks civilization is the saving grace. It just needs to be like redeemed or whatever. Okay, so sorry. So yeah, Then she started giving, she's like, no, not at all. Like, we're fine. You have no idea. She's like, take Saudi women, she says. Can't drive, love it. Each Saudi woman, she says, has her own personal driver. She says, in general, Saudi women love not having to drive. They don't find it oppressive at all. And most of that was quoting her, like very nearly verbatim. She didn't say the words, they don't mind not having to drive at all. But it was so clear that's what she was saying. She did say each woman, might be a slight exaggeration, has her own personal driver. And I just started thinking, yeah. And that was the thing. And I quote, we think our men are oppressed. I mean, it's exactly what Karen Strawn said. Like, no one from the left thought to ask an actual Middle Eastern woman how she feels. All I had to do was go out in the field and find one, and my suspicion completely confirmed. I mean, I feel like a dumbass. I'm swearing, grr. Oh my goodness, oh no, okay. I don't know what YouTube's gonna do to me. I do have one other video where I swear really badly. I don't know how to do this. Look, it's just that we are all oppressed in a way. Now, where am I gonna go with this? I don't know. I could go everywhere and nowhere. My take, for what it's worth, it's the civilization itself that's dysfunctional. I mean, that's what's oppressive. It sucks to be at the bottom of a hierarchy. What are you gonna do? I mean, but yeah, you look at this, just watch some Karen Strawn on YouTube, Straughan. It's, the expectations on Middle Eastern men are kind of insane. Like, you'll be surprised. It's very interesting. And as far as, like, people misattributing their oppression, I think it's a very natural thing. And that is a big part of why I suspect that some kind of neoliberal elite, that some people or groups of people at the top are largely behind this new leftist insanity and have actually been trying their best to direct or at least delimit the flow of left thought for decades. But they've become incredibly successful, almost so much so that they're outdoing themselves. Like, they're going to destroy the entire credibility. Well, actually, no, that's probably still tickling their fancy. I mean, why not? Yeah. They don't want the left to have any credibility because the left is the only one totally resisting them. I mean, people on the right think that they're resisting corporate influence, and that's just kind of funny. And then the libertarians think that they're resisting tyranny, and that's just kind of funny too. Because for the most part, American libertarians anyway, I mean, the old European libertarian movement is kind of interesting. It's kind of the opposite, apparently. But the American libertarian movement, which is like practically as pro-corporate as you can get. Anyway. I mean, there's only one thing more tyrannical than government, and that's a big corporation. I mean, think about it. There's zero accountability there. You've got a giant organizational structure with a lot of power and money, rules over people's lives, affects everything, and has zero accountability to anyone below them. I mean, it's technically a totalitarian structure. I mean, picture how totalitarian. If you picture North Korea is really just one giant corporation. Like the corporation that Neo works for in The Matrix. Like, that's basically North Korea. Like, yeah, anyway. It's just a giant corporation where you can't quit your job because there are no others, and they've got a little fence around people. So there's some key differences, but yeah, anyway. Goodness. Are Middle Eastern women oppressed? Absolutely not. God. One anecdotal account. But yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do, So anyway, it makes perfect sense to always attribute our sense of oppression to, so they kind of get it both ways. They win either way. Either you're on the right and you convince yourself that you're imagining any sense of oppression. Well, if you're on the sane right, or you're more on the left and you convince yourself that it's always someone else and something else. This is where it gets kind of weird. This is where everyone is right. The centrist right is correct that no one is oppressing you. The centrist left is correct that you are being oppressed, just systemically. The radical right is, 99.9% dead wrong. But they are correct that there are, that there are Jewish elites trying to oppress you. Among the elites that are running the show here, are none of them Jews? Sure. It's like weird. Our middle class people who happen to be black and our upper class people who happen to be black, not kind of part of the whole system of being above other people. So anyway, okay, so that was extreme. That's retarded. But yeah, the radical right is just completely off, but even they are hinting at something that's kind of, it's like, it's just always a bad idea to call people crazy for feeling how they feel. And then the radical left is like completely onto something, but they're turning themselves into the radical right. They've decided to blame racial groups for huge systemic woes. And that's just crazy. It's so lunatic. It's like, of course you're correct that everyone is interpretable as being oppressed by whoever is above them in the socioeconomic strata. And of course you are correct that it's systemic. It is a system. But you don't get your own point. Systemic oppression does not come from individuals or groups. The only group that you could even somewhat accurately say, the only demographic you could even somewhat reasonably blame for systemic oppression, that is oppression that is by definition the result of the functionings of systems, the structure of the system, is the elites. The people that Chomsky talks about, the people at the very top. Literally, people like Bill Gates may not even count. Because rich as he is, I don't get the sense that he's going to play ball with those folks. So my guess is the elites just manipulate the Bill Gateses. Now maybe George Soros is actually an elite. Certainly the Koch brothers are. Right? And maybe all the rumors about Soros have a grain of truth in them, in that he plays ball with the elites. He knows how to he knows how to be a part of that game, and so he's folded in. I really highly doubt that Bill and Melinda are, despite their billions. Precisely because they don't want to play ball. And then it would be really interesting to find out Steve Jobs. What are his ties in with elite level planners, society planners? To what extent, was he playing ball and having fun and doing things along with them to try and do the neoliberal management of the entire global society? The management of our minds, the management of our perceptions, the management of our actions, not just the management of the money. Because the money buys influence. And the influence is not always on the up and up. So, that's my take on all of that. Now I get to see if YouTube bans me for mentioning something about the alt-right. Christ. Oh, wow. Where did this go? Where did this come from? I thought it would be a cute little fun one. I gotta go. Okay.